Hey, what's good, family? It's your man, Mark Black. Welcome to Sucka-Free Saturday. You know what time it is. Before we get started, I want to say thank you all for those who are here already and those who will show up for giving me your time, your eyes, and, for a moment, let me holler at you, let me rap with you. Before we get started, remember, links in the description there to reports, resources to help you get up on the advocacy for yourself and for your tribe. We can't escape doing the work, fam, so we have to make sure we get it done. Second of all, there are links to support my work. If you think that my work is worthy of support, I appreciate if you click one of those links, preferably the Patreon. I'm trying to organize having some funds come in to help upgrade things, get better camera stuff, better. Just, I can't do this without you. So even if it's just $1, fam, it's appreciated. Don't feel pressured to do it, but if you're able to call it, please call it. So this broadcast was inspired by some things that have gone on in the last day or so. So before I get into it, I want to give you guys a little bit of a backstory and a quick shout out or two. I watch all different types of black content on YouTube, right? I'm not really with a lot of the, kind of hyper black, pro black, content. As you guys know, I kind of came into this channel from that milieu, and what I experienced there just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And so, but there's a few here and there that I think sometimes warrant a watch or a view. And so I'll check them out. And there was a video that was done yesterday by a sister named Michi X. Some of you are very familiar with her. She's quite prolific, definitely interesting. She's one of those people you either love her or you hate her. But she did a broadcast where she was discussing the recent Kickstarter campaign of Tariq Nasheed, right, for the Foundational Black American Conference. All right. Now, I watched her broadcast, the whole thing. I caught it on the re-up, actually, because I didn't really catch it live or whatever the case may be. And I'll admit that this broadcast was kind of inspired by that one. And that's as far as it's going. That's as far as it's going. And I'll explain why. So before I do that, though, let me do what I normally do. Let me shout out everybody. Pat is in the house. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Pretty Muslima's in the house. Salam alaikum to you, sister. I see you. Let's see here. Sister Christine. Juan, what up, family? I see you. Hey, Nola hit him hard. The boy Cash is in the house. Pookie's in the house. Long time no see, Pookie. I miss you, fam. The cool man's in the house. Welcome to the broadcast, fam. Remember, rules are if you're here, you don't have to participate in the chat, but pop your name in there and let me shout you out. Melanin Nation, X-Unit, YTOJ's in the house. James Harden is in the house. I see you, homie. Big love to you, fam, and welcome to the broadcast. AL, I see you. Malika, I see you. Welcome to the broadcast, fam. There we go. All right, so let's continue on. I want to give a quick shout out to the sister Pretty Muslima and to my brother Double C's, also known as CC. We had us a nice little conversation this morning. I'm Big Smith, dog. I see you, fam. What's good? Welcome to the broadcast. We had a good conversation. And I want to tell y'all, Tim, Cease, y'all put something on my mind this morning, right? This is why I asked for y'all to come and join me after the upload of the video, right? Because I actually have had somewhat of a change of thought, right? And I hope that when I'm done, I not only will have conveyed exactly where it is that I stand, because I'm the angry black sheep. I don't care about offending anybody. But at the same token, there's never anything wrong with a little tact and diplomacy, right? I have a vocabulary and I know how to use it. This is an opportunity for me to put people on blast, so to speak. This is an opportunity to do what I always desire for us to do, and that is to get us thinking, right? To get us asking questions. For those of you who had the opportunity to do so, fam, Miss Denny's in the house. I see you, sister. Mwah. Welcome to the broadcast. For those of you who had an opportunity to today to watch the video, that was a video that I done about, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 years ago, fam, when I was on my old Mark Black channel. And one thing that I had noticed, I saw this trend, right, if you will. It was a trend of individuals who operated with the same type of MO. Now, I'm not going to name any names, but if I started using some of their verbiage, right, some of their rhetoric, you would know exactly who it is that I'm referring to. These people would come onto a broadcast, and if you listen to them and let them tell it, they are the biggest threat to white supremacy that ever lived, right? Black folks was kings, queens, emperors, goddesses, gods, you name it. And white folks were evil, genetically deficient, Caucasoid devils from West Asia and so on and so forth, right? So they would go hard with all of these various epithets, right, about white folks, usually in reference to some horrible or heinous incident that's happened to us as ADOS. And then immediately after their rant, right, crapping all over white folks, they would then proceed into some type of criticism about us, right? I'll give you a case in point, fam. How many of you remember the incident of the young brother who was over in Greece in a bar, and I don't know if she was Grecian or if she was some other European, but some white woman spoke to him, and 16 men, a few from Greece and most of them Serbians, beat this man to death. How many? Pop a one in the chat if you remember hearing about that incident. Ride with me, fam. Oh, by the way, shout out to Brother Leroy. Welcome to the broadcast, fam. I see you. Right? Good. Okay. Got some ones in the chat. I'm glad y'all remember that incident. Sister Yolanda, welcome to the broadcast, fam. I see you. Now, here was the strange part. Okay, Melanation, I'll run it down. So essentially, the brother was a tourist. He was over in Greece, and he was at a bar. And now, according to the information that I was able to gather, he never approached the woman. She actually approached him. And him being a tourist, right? Here's somebody who's approaching him. He's trying to be friendly. She's trying to be friendly, right? Well, these white men saw her talking to him, got upset. Some words were exchanged. He was there with like a couple of white folks, like 2 or 3 white dudes, and it was him, right? So he had some people with him. These other guys proceeded to jump on him. His so-called friends split, left him there to be beaten to death by these 16 men, right? So that was the circumstance. That was the situation. Now, when you hear about this situation, fam, as human beings, damn ADOS, damn politics, damn anything, right? As a human being, when you hear about this circumstance, pop into chat what your reaction to hearing about a situation like this would be, right? Tell me, would you feel dismayed? Would you feel saddened? Would you be outraged, right? Would you be upset? CKD is in the house. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. How would you feel? Just as a human being, right? Take your ideology, take everything out of it, and just be a person for a second, right? If you heard a circumstance of a man beat to death simply for talking to a woman in a foreign country, far away from his family and friends, How would you feel about hearing that story? Right? Midtown said he feel like putting in some work. Cool Unks in the house, fam. I see you. Happy Sucka-Free Saturday and welcome to the broadcast. Right? Pretty Muslima said my reaction was the white friends would leave. What the fuck, right? You'd be like, what the hell? How you gonna call yourself my friends, right? James said the chick might have been in on it. You dig? Right? Okay, I got you. Like pulling a lick. Okay, so you'd be wondering what the angle is. Now, notice that what you guys are saying is common reactions, fam, to hearing about a circumstance like this. Right? These are, you question his friends, like, what kind of friends does this brother got? Right? You'd be wanting to put in some work. You feel me? Thank you, Oaktown girl. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. So in other words, fam, your reactions are normal human reactions to hearing of such a heinous incident. Well, let me share with you what the members of the Black frustration industry's reaction was to the incident. They posted up videos titled Swirler's Delight. That's right. That was literally the title to one of the videos I saw on the death, the murder of this man. And they praised the fact that he died, saying, thus always to swirlers. Never minding the fact that this man, there was no evidence that he was trying to engage with this woman in a sexual manner or whatever. Even if he was, what type of human being would say that this person deserved to die simply because of a possible interaction with a female of another ethnicity sexually? Is that a normal reaction? Is that like a reaction that you would expect someone who has a heart, who has humanity about them to express? Well, I didn't think so. But you see, fam, what was interesting to me, what was very, very, very interesting to me, was not that these people would put up such a video. What was interesting to me was the support. What was interesting to me was the numbers of individuals who clicked the links, who watched the videos, who hit the thumbs. Thank you, Cool Unc. Say his name, Bakari Henderson. May he rest. That was the thing that got me to think, right? There was another thing, too, that I noticed. These same individuals who consistently highlighted the traumas. Pretty Muslima, let me look it up for us. Thank you for asking. You know me, I like to bring the facts. Let's see. This happened in 2018. Yep. Actually, was it 2018? Yep, 2018. No, I'm sorry. He was killed on July 7th, 2017. Apologize for the misinformation. This was 2017, so about 2 years ago. Easy be easy. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. So there was another thing that I noticed. Yeah, they did let them off, by the way. They did let them off. But I don't want us to get sidetracked just yet, fam. I encourage you, do the research on that story because it was a messed up situation, right? But to continue my point, there was another thing that I noticed. These individuals would consistently do the highlighting of some traumatic incident about us, proceed to blame one or more of us for aiding and abetting in some way, shape, or fashion said incident. And then that would be all. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding, fam. No ideas toward a solution, no possible solutions, no brainstorming, no nothing. I need you to understand that There was nothing about the circumstance or the situation that they were reporting that they couldn't have got simply just by watching a free news article. Except for the heated, aberrational, crazy commentary from these individuals. Now, each of these individuals, and again, I'm naming no names here because this isn't about names. This is about trends, attitudes, ideas. Each of these individuals had some sort of method of funding, right? GoFundMe was the thing, or Patreon was the thing, or whatever the case may be. The only reason why I have a Patreon, fam, is because I had actual angry black sheep ask me why don't I have one. Because when I initially started this channel, I did not have one. I encourage you guys to support if you feel like you want to, but I don't demand it. Y'all gotta forgive me because I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants on this broadcast. I normally have my thoughts together, but you guys are going on a journey with me, and I appreciate your patience and your forbearance with me while I get this point together that I'm trying to make. So, in light of the circumstance that I saw of these people who consistently were able to profit off of the worst traumas, the worst acts of our people, right? Thank you to Miss Denny and thank you to Cool Unc for the super chats, fam. I really do appreciate y'all. I then did this video discussing what I denoted. Yes, exactly, Easy Be Easy. This is in reference to the other video that I dropped earlier today. I dropped that video, The Black Frustration Industry. And the reason why I titled it as such is because it seemed to me that these people's whole MO was not about fixing or addressing or healing or reconciling the circumstances in which we find ourselves, not just here in America, but as ADOS around the world. No, their whole thing was to keep us upset, off balance, and profit flowing into their pockets because of it. But you see, family, there was a portion of this thing that I missed. Thus, the redo. Because here we are in 2019, and there are still some people out there who profit off of ADOS pain, right? And trust me, it's not just the usual suspects, right? It's not just the bootlicks and the Sambos and the buck dancers, right? It's not just them. No, they are wide and sundry, great and small, whose whole goal is to get you to glom on to something that is frustrating you, something that is hurting you, something that is causing you pain, and encourage you to support them to keep bringing you the pain. I'll admit, at first, fam, I thought that we had some sort of masochistic streak as a people, that we would actually be supporting people that spend all of their time hurting us. Right, that spend all of their time seeing to it that we suffer, seeing to it that we continue to relive trauma upon trauma upon trauma. Never a solution in sight. Because remember, solutions for people in the black frustration industry is a business closer. Solutions, right? Real solutions, something that you can grasp onto and act upon, or something that you can tangibly handle and see, means the death knell of what it is that they do. It's the deflating of their bag. But again, family, Mark Black missed a part. Because you see, family, there is two heads on this dragon that we need to slay. There isn't just the people that profit from pain amongst ADOS, right? Because I'm not talking about the outsiders. We expect, or at least I should say at this point, as adult ADOS people, right, as adult foundational Black Americans, I would expect that you would see non-ADOS culture as absolutely antithetical to your interests. If they can profit from your pain, not only will they, but they will encourage it, okay? So I'm not talking about non-ADOS people. I'm talking about this is in-house. These are people that look like you and I who prospered off of our pain. But there's a second head to this dragon. A second head to this dragon. And that second head, I would call the ADOS aspiration industry. And who are these individuals? You all know who they are. These are the people that tell you, because remember, they have the same MO. They present you a situation and then they castigate or criticize or critique you for it. Okay, so here's the situation with the ADOS aspiration industry. They present to you financial data. They say to you, ADOS people have $1.3 trillion in spending power. ADOS people will spend $50 billion this year on Christmas. ADOS people are single-handedly keeping Popeye's chicken in business. Right? Any of those sound familiar to you? Right? Black women are the most rapidly growing demographic, educational demographic on the planet Earth. Does that sound familiar to you? Now see, here's the thing. Here's the thing. With both groups, one thing I've noticed is that there is a cup of poison in a clear lake of water. In other words, most of what they share with you, to a certain extent, is true. Most of it, right? But there's always a poison pill. Now, for those of us who perhaps either don't have the intellectual training or lack the rigor or simply just don't have the time to do due diligence, there's a lot of things that get said, especially by these aspirational individuals, that we simply don't question, right? Because it sounds like it's right. Now, these individuals, these aspirational individuals, right, will come to you with all of this so-called data, right? Enough of it true so that you don't question, but enough lies. You see what I'm saying? And then what they will do is then critique you. The reason why we still in the position we in is because you won't do X. And it'll usually be a combination of something financial, right? We don't save enough. We don't spend enough with other Black folk. We waste money, right? So on and so forth. Or it'll be social. You don't use proper speech. You act ghetto, right? You dress like trash. You talk stupid, so on and so forth. And then they tell us to fund them so that they can continue to give us the information, to continue to give us aspiration. They tell us all these great things about ourselves and then castigate us if we don't buy in. Right? If we don't immediately jump on board with whatever pet project or pet thing that it is that they want to bring to us. And I argue, family, that both are as deadly to us as it could possibly be. Thank you, Pretty Muslima. Dr. Umar Johnson did it. Think about this, fam. You'd have to be cracked as ADOS to hear a beautiful brother who's got a PhD in psychology tell you that the school systems are working overtime. Here's the information. Here's the data. The school systems are working overtime to take your beloved children, especially your boys, and turn them into prison fodder. And so I have the solution. I'm going to build the world's biggest, best black school for boys. We're going to teach them military training. We're going to have agricultural training. We're going to do all this and that and the third. Now I need y'all to kick in. Now, here's the thing. I don't have any problem with us dreaming big, right? America is the land of go big or go home. What up, Maiden Dade? I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. John, I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. I don't have a problem with us dreaming big. What I have a problem with is us dreaming unrealistically. Us dreaming without the data. Right? Like, here's some obvious questions, fam. Obvious. Okay. How much is all this going to really cost? And how do you know how much? Right? So if I come to you, fam, and I say, here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to need X, Y, and Z. And y'all need to help pony up for us to get it. Okay. At the very least, I should be able to tell you what the cost is. Right? I can't just throw out some random ass number. Right? Like if somebody asked me right now, Mark Black, you keep saying you want to try to do this and that with the channel. What do you need? Okay, well, I've been looking at a 4K video camera, right? It's going to cost about, on the cheap end, $100, right? I can get a cheap one. You feel me? I've already got a mixer and a mic, so don't really need that. But I was kind of looking for maybe some sort of portable audio recorder or some sort of portable mixer. That's going to cost about $500. Like, I need to be able to run that down. That should not even be a matter of question. By the way, Homegirl's in the house. Antonio from NYC is in the house. Thank you so much, fam, for your eyeballs. I appreciate that. You feel me? Pretty Muslima said you could definitely throw a number out, go do the research and refine it. No. I'm sorry, but I disagree. Right? Because remember, if my job is to bring to you the fruition of the dream, I need to have that already in play before I come to you. In other words, fam, there's nothing wrong with ballparking. If you're talking just in general, Peach is in the house. I see you, fam. Welcome to the broadcast. Right? If you just mention something offhand and somebody say, oh, really? What's that? What that might be looking like? You'd be like, oh, like $500-$600, something like that. You could ballpark some stuff, right? But when it comes down to actually asking people to put money up on the table, when it comes down to brass tacks, you need to have your money straight. You need to have the numbers right from the get-go. There should be no questions. That's, in my opinion, that's just how this thing is supposed to go. How am I supposed to know if I paid the cost for something if I don't know what the cost for that thing actually is, right? Like you go into the store, the grocery store to get some food. You don't go over in the meat section looking at the steaks and they have a range of prices on it. Oh, between $20 and $25. No, they tell you exactly how much the price is because otherwise you can't be certain you bought it. What if you go in there and you pay $22 for the steak, get up front, walk out the door, and here comes loss prevention saying that steak was actually $25 and now you just stole the steak? That wouldn't make sense, would it, fam? No, right? You make it clear right from the jump that whoever's bringing the dreams to you need to have their ducks in a row, right? They need to have the numbers straight. Umar didn't do that. There was another thing, too, that I've noticed, when it comes to this aspirational dragon, the ADOS aspiration dragon that we need to slay. You feel me? Mission creep. Now, I'm going to have to define that statement because that's not a familiar statement. That's not something a lot of people are used to, right? I'm ex-military. When you are given an order to go execute, to say take an objective, right? You're supposed to go here and hold this position, all right? And then, so you and your unit maneuver toward that position, right? And in between, you've got different tactical movements you need to make. Maybe you might have to do an ambush, or you may have to clear an area, or whatever the case may be, right? But here's the objective. Now, meanwhile, back in the rear with the gear, the people that are supposedly in charge of the mission keep adding more things for you to do along the way. Okay, so you went from supposed to be going to here, but now you're supposed to do this. And then now you're supposed to do that. And then now you're supposed to do this. Mission creep, right? The mission keeps changing. The civilian equivalent would be something like moving the goalpost, so to speak. If I'm making sense, fam, let me know if I'm not being clear here, right? Exactly. Moving the goal line, right? So a lot of the time when you have these people that profit off of your aspiration, what ends up happening is they start off at first with a goal that seems like it's easy to meet, right? We just need $1,000 for X. Okay. And if you have people that like you, that support what you do, and so on and so forth, that's usually not that difficult to come up with, right? Not at all. But then, when you're looking for the fruition of the initial $1,000 that you all gathered together and put out, you find that, oh, it turns out that, this went on or this happened. So now we need to generate another 10. You're like, damn, but we just gave you that. Okay, well, 10, that's not quite as easy, but shit, it was real fast that we got the 1,000. So come on, fam, let's get together and put up the 10. All right, so here come the 10 rolling in via various funding outlets. So then a few more months or weeks pass, or whatever the case may be. And so you guys are thinking, well, damn, we ain't heard nothing about the 10. We don't know what's up with the 1,000. Like, what's good, So then people start questioning. Then it's like, oh, yeah, so, that thing with the 10 turned out real well. And so now that we put down the 10, we just need another 100. So now you went from 1,000 to 10,000 to 100,000. Mission creep. By the way, fam, the strangest thing of the whole situation is you never even got what was promised for the 1,000. That never appeared. As the numbers got bigger, it's like you lost sight of what happened when the numbers were small. I have found, family, that you can tell pretty easily if you just simply apply some basic principles, right? Some basic discernment, right? If you discriminate. Discrimination isn't always a bad word. To discriminate means to differentiate, to make a difference, to see the differences between, and to choose between multiple options, right? You discriminate when you go to the grocery store and you pick ice cream. Some of you like Rocky Road. Some of you wouldn't mess with it. Some of you like Neapolitan. Some of you wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. You discriminate. You use your preferences, the knowledge that you have available, your discernment, and you make a choice based off of that, right? So here's where I want to take this broadcast. I don't want to talk about No particular person. Because this is bigger than individual people. This is bigger than me. This is bigger than everybody, right? I want to talk about those basic principles that that stop us from getting caught up by either the frustration industry or the aspiration industry. Because they're both traps. They're both dead ends for us as ADOS. And they'll always come to us the same. They always come to us as some type or some form of entertainment. Right? Let's keep it a buck, fam. There's a word in German that I like to use often because this word has multiple word meaning in English. That word is schadenfreude. What is schadenfreude, you might ask? Well, Brother Black will tell you. Schadenfreude is the feeling that you have when you rejoice in the suffering of someone else. We as ADOS are not above schadenfreude. We are not above, unfortunately, seeing something negative or deleterious happen to another ADOS person. And even if it's no more than in our heart of hearts going, that's what that nigga get. Tell the truth and shame the devil, fam. The black frustration industry counts on your feeling of schadenfreude. Pretty Muslima asked, who is rejoicing from our suffering? We are. Remember, this is capitalism. Nobody would sell a damn thing if it wasn't nobody buying it. The black frustration industry would not be able to sell you these stories of trauma, these stories of abuse, these stories of pain and continued suffering after 400 years in this country if secretly, in our heart of hearts, it wasn't enjoyable in some way, shape, or fashion to us. If we weren't lascivious, if you will, in our enjoyment, it's a guilty pleasure. We sit here and we revel in what we call nigga wake-up calls. Come on now. Mark Black ain't brand new. I was born during the day, but I wasn't born yesterday. We see something happen to another ADOS person, and we rejoice in it. Now, of course, that's not socially acceptable to be out loud with. So what we do is we financially support the people that have enough courage to give us the space to do what we can't do ourselves. They come on with these stories of us making mistakes, us getting caught in bad situations, us being victimized. And each one of us, as we click the link to send them $1 or $2, or click the link to hit the thumbs up, all have the same thing running through our head. Better that nigga than me. He should have knew to stay out from over there. Schadenfreude. The black frustration industry preys upon the fact that we still, to a certain extent, rejoice in the suffering of other people. And that is what it is. That needs to be extirpated out of our psyches, right? We talk about lineage therapy. Join your brother today in a little lineage therapy. Let's cut to the heart of the matter. Let's be radical in excising this poison out of our psyche. Too many of us are infected with the spirit of schadenfreude. Somebody doing a little too well, or somebody in a situation we probably would never find ourselves and they fall flat on their face, and we rejoice in it. That's how they hook you. That's how they get you. If they can get you being entertained by the stories of pain, by the stories of suffering, by the criticisms, right? What is one of our favorite things as Black folk, as ADOS? We love to go in on people. Not all of us can identify with that. This ain't personal. I'm talking about trends, family. Come on now, ride with me. If the shoe don't fit, don't put it on. But I can guarantee you there's enough people that this shoe fits, because otherwise these people would not continue to be able to operate in our milieu. They would not be able to operate as a part of our tribe. They wouldn't be able to sell us something we weren't buying. What the aspirational or the ADOS aspiration industry sells us is more dream stuff, right? We never get around to addressing how it is that even our most basic dreams never come to fruition, because we keep buying more dreams, right? We don't have to address the dreams that we bought earlier, the small dreams that never got met, that never got addressed, because all we have to do is just keep buying more dream stuff. Let's see here. K Jr. said it helps to study logic and rhetoric to help prevent being exploited. Facts. Pretty Muslima said, so are we mad at the consumers or the salesmen? Yes.
That was gonna be your answer.
Yes. Or at least I should say we should be. Because I too am the consumer. How do you think I know what's happening, fam? How do you think I know what's happening? Because I too am the consumer of this stuff. I know just as well as anybody what it's like to buy in. I too have looked at a circumstance or a situation where my brother or my sister fell down, got messed up, got jacked up, right? And I was just like, sucks to be them. That's some messed up shit. They shouldn't have been over there. They shouldn't have, you see what I'm saying? Like, so I know, fam, I'm the consumer too, right? This isn't, I hope y'all don't take this as an indictment upon you individually. This is something that we all as a collective need to address, right? It's all too easy for us to point the fingers elsewhere. It's hard as hell to point the finger at yourself, right? John asked, once you saw it in yourself, did you change? Yes. And let me share with you how I've changed. First of all, I feel my emotions. There's nothing wrong with emotions. There's nothing wrong with even the most darkest of emotions you have. They're just emotions, fam. So feel them to the full, right? But the first thing I did once I realized this was I took my emotions and I measured them against reality. I said, okay, this is what I feel. Now I need the data. What's actually going on? What's actually happened? What did actually occur? Okay? If my feelings and reality match, then I express my feelings to the full. Which means if it's outrage, I'm going to be outraged. If it's joy, I'm going to be joyous. If it means time to kick some ass, I'm going to kick some ass. Or whatever the case may be. But if reality and my emotions doesn't jibe, I don't squelch my emotions, but I do check them. I say, nope. That's all right that I feel like how I feel about this shit. But reality is X, and I choose reality over my feelings. Right? This doesn't mean that we can't be the emotionally rich people we are. We can be. What this means is, however, is that at some point, emotions is like a car. We need brakes and the gas pedal. You feel me? Right? But all too often, we let people keep pressing on our gas pedal so that we don't get the brakes. And we need to be able to pump the brakes. There's a reason why we got that saying in our community, family. Whoa, hold on, fam, pump your brakes, right? Because we telling people slow down. Let me get this knowledge in you, right? Let me hit you with the facts so that you can check your emotions. Y'all know me. Nobody goes in like I do, right? I love to go in. But at the same token, fam, I only have the right, the luxury of going in if reality warrants it. You have to be mindful and you have to be willing to change on a dime. See, one of the things, fam, no, we are not different than any other ethnic group. The cool man. I'm talking in-house. I let the white folks deal with white folks. I let Asians deal with Asians. I'm dealing with ADOS. This is just a family conversation, fam. Do not take anything I'm saying as this is only ADOS. Trust me, you have this same dynamic operating in every other ethnicity because it is a human thing, right? The fact is that we're vulnerable because we're human. For all that the greater society tries to deny our essential humanity, isn't it funny that when you break us down, we're just as human as everybody else, with all of the greatness and the flaws and the foibles that go along with that? Another thing that I did differently, right, was that I learned to be willing to change on a dime. Now, let me explain that. There's this thing that people who are trying to sell you something love to see in you, right? They love to see it in you and they love to see it in me. That thing is consistency, right? I don't want, if I'm looking to get wool from a sheep, I don't kill the sheep. I shear it, right? So that the wool will grow back and then I can take the wool again over and over. I don't kill the sheep and take its skin. That only get wool once, right? So if I want a customer base, the last thing I want to do is kill the customer base. No, I want to shear it. I want to so I can come back and do it again, which means that I need to keep my customer base consistent. Consistency is key, right? This is why you rarely see these individuals change up their content. They rarely change up the information they bring you because why fix a wheel that isn't broke? Why try to reinvent the wheel? If it's working and they're continuing to get the bag by doing X, Y, and Z, they're going to continue to do X, Y, and Z. But see, people who are looking at your best interest, family, and my best interest as ADOS are always willing to adapt. I'm certain that when I mentioned the whole Tariq Nasheed, Michi X thing, that many of you thought that I was going to go in on one side or the other one, that I was going to ride hard for Michi or I was going to ride hard for Tariq. When in point of fact, I'm not riding hard for either one of them. I'm not against either one of them. Because logically speaking, that makes no sense. I don't think that this is about Michi or Tariq. I think that this is about learning what is in the best interests of my tribe. So what is in the best interest of my tribe as a fellow black sheep and a fellow traveler and your tribesman who loves you is to simply make us aware of where we are weak, so that anybody, regardless of the name, anybody, regardless of their cult of personality, anybody, regardless of whatever intangible bullshit idea or product they're selling us today, we have the capability as a tribe to combat them all. We have the ability to combat both those who would keep us frustrated and never wanting to see a solution, and we also will be able to combat those who keep feeding us gas and dream stuff, because they're both wrong. They're both wrong. Whatever issues you might have about what Tariq is doing with the conference or whatever the case may be, my job as your brother and one who loves you is to tell you, then do the work. Figure out whether or not he's right or wrong as you understand it, and then act accordingly. Do not be swayed by these emotional pleas of group economics and this, that, and the third. You don't have to buy into any of that. Simply look at the information, look at the data, look at the facts, right? Do the research if you have to. If you need to, go and do a practice RFP, right? That's a request for proposal, right? That's what you usually have to do when you do some sort of convention, right? Do a RFP with a convention center in your area and start getting some gauges of information, and you determine whether or not the ask that he's making is worth him asking us for, right? But for those of you who thought that Michi was wrong to be asking Tariq exactly what it is that he's actually giving back to the community, that's a valid question too, right? One of which should be answered. If you asked me, what have I given back to the community? I can at least take a stab at trying to answer it, right? What I have done is I've spent hours and hours and hours of study on various different topics and subjects, and I try to bring as much factual information to my community as possible. I also stay accountable to you by owning when I fuck up and make a mistake. I try never to ask you for more than even I could bear. Right? I try not to ask you for anything that I know is going to cause you harm or cause you hurt. And most importantly, I bring you a commitment to always be flexible and change as needs be. I need you to understand that, fam. The status quo for ADOS is always deadly. Always. We have to be the most flexible because we're the ones who are under the gun. Always in this country, we're under the gun. Whether it's politically or economically or socially or educationally. Because the whole damn system was set up to be that way. That which does not bend, family, breaks. This does not mean don't have principles. This does not mean don't hold on to integrity. What this means is to be mentally agile. We cannot be so in love with groups or individuals or personalities that when new data presents itself, we can't ask questions, that we can't, you see what I'm saying? We can't do that. Let me go through the chat here. Let's see. By the way, I want to thank everybody that's contributed during the broadcast tonight. I really appreciate you. Nuke said, when they start that group economics translation, send me money. Facts, right? Tariq is pro ADOS. Learn from our history. You need to have these conversations first offline. If you really are, I'm not talking about Tariq. So anybody that's in this chat saying that I'm talking about Tariq, Miss me with it. I've mentioned the brother's name maybe once or twice. I don't have anything to say about what Tariq is doing with the FBA conference or not. If I have an opinion, you'll never know it. Now, how on code is that? I'm telling you how to utilize your brain computer, utilize your noodle to figure out whether or not this is something that you want to support or you don't. Right? Maxwell says, stop hating. It is what it is. Let's see here. Antonio said, I'm sorry, he could have teamed up with Yvette and Tone at the ADOS conference this year and next year instead of splitting up groups. I feel where you're coming from on that. Pretty Muslima said, that's what it means to be a bottom cast. She's absolutely right. We got to be agile, right? Has anyone accepted the pack idea? I've heard grumblings or intimations from other people about packs. We'll see, right? Let's see here. We're all on that same ship. Oh, okay. I got you, CJ. All right. We good, fam. We good. Let's see here. And yes, Midtown spoke my words. What we not about to do, right? What we're not going to do is to turn this, because there, in my mind, is no difference between FBA and ADOS. I can't, for those of you who are questioning why we have to have FBA and why we have to have ADOS, I'll be right here with you and say, I question the same damn thing. It's a valid ass question. Because in my mind, we all speak the same. We all walk the same. We all talk the same. We all standing on the same shit, but we got two different names. Why? I don't know. Inquiring minds, right? But what we're not going to do, at least not here on the Angry Black Sheep, we're not going to create division where there isn't any. I literally have zero interest in disrespecting those who might call themselves FBA or DACS or DOAS or BADASS or whatever, because it all translates into the same thing. We all share the same unique heritage, lineage, and we all share the same justice claim. That's not going to happen here. And as far as the separate conference goes or whatever the case may be, I'm not offering an opinion on that. Do your own due diligence. See, family, this is what I love about this transformational moment. Because right now, this is the part where we get to separate the wheat from the chaff. And this is no disrespect, but we need to do an internal house cleaning. This is not criticism to say that we got people that are bench sitters, fence straddlers, bench warmers, you know, who are sideliners, wall hangers, right? And I'm sorry, but in this particular milieu, we don't have the luxury of entertaining those folk. You know, I remember reading in Revelations where he said, you are neither cold nor hot, so I spew you out of my mouth, right? And that's how we all have to be in this transformational moment. People you can't get to pin down on a damn thing is useless to us. This is not to say that we can't change. We should be agile. We should be flexible. But what this is to say is that there is a core that we're operating from that is based off of our ancestry, our lineage, and our heritage that is not negotiable. You either are on board with supporting, uplifting, remediating, and repairing that, or you are not. And if you are not, then we spew you out of our mouth. That's as simple as that, fam. The goal is for us to get tangibles. Our goal is for us to get justice. And anybody that can't sign up with that, we don't need to waste no time with. The cool man is right. Tariq needs to answer some questions, and he should. And I've been assured by people who are partisans of Tariq that he usually does answer questions. So I'm hopeful. I, too, with interest, look forward to the answering of those questions, right? And Michi also can be questioned, too, as well. right? But I've seen partisans from both sides do personal attacks. That's never going to fly, fam. That to me is so nonsensical. I'll be honest with you. What the hell does Michi's weight or Tariq's choice of quaff or whatever have to do with anything that they're doing? Right? Let's stop acting like this is high school, right? And we're part of the cool crowd, and the leader of our crowd is beefing with the leader of the other popular kids. I can't do that, right? I'm a grown-ass man. I'm not talking about nothing about Michi's weight or where she from or anything like that. I don't give a damn about none of that. I don't talk about what Tariq's hair looked like or what his face looked like. I don't care about any of that. What I want to address is whatever the combat of ideas, the discussion, the dissension between the two, I'd like to see that addressed. Everything else to me is like, I'm cool. I'm cool. We don't need all the personal attacks. We don't need people going at, you know what I'm saying? Because Midtown's right. We got, look, again, schadenfreude, right? ADOS love to roast each other. We started when we was kids. This is why I was so shocked that the concept of schadenfreude was so foreign to many of you. Because when we was kids, when we played the dozens, when we roasted, what was the best outcome we could get from roasting another person? Oh man, fuck you, right? And they be hurting. We've learned how to revel in each other's pain ever since we was knee high to a duck. Pretty Muslima says that it's abusive. I think we could argue that. Right? There's a line, a thin line between giving somebody a little bit of smoke and enjoying their pain and suffering. Right? Let's keep it a buck, fam. We always do. We talk about the uncomfortable things on this channel, fam. We were taught ever since we was ducks that you better harden up, buttercup, because ain't nobody giving you no love. See, we got to question even that. This mental agility, fam, that I'm demanding from us as ADOS is not a suggestion. It is a demand. We have to grow up as a people. I'm not saying we are children. Don't get me wrong. I'm using it as a metaphor, right? ADOS needs to stop being the caterpillar, and we need to go ahead and jump into the chrysalis and go through the processes needed to become the beautiful butterfly. And the only way, fam, that we're going to do that is by being agile, by questioning the things that need questioning the individuals that need questioning. And if you can't, how can I help us to become more mentally agile? That's a good question. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pretend to be an expert on the subject. However, I've got a few tips that I can share with you, right? The first tip that I would share with you is learn how to make proper differentiation. And what do I mean by that? What I mean is simple. We need to learn to truly see difference. See, one of the things that we as ADOS are definitely afraid of is looking like we're being discriminated. Haven't you ever noticed that, fam? Like, we're still sitting here arguing as ADOS with continental Africans, diasporan Africans about what it is that we're doing and what we're on. You know why we continue to argue with them? Because secretly, we don't want what they're saying about us to be true. How can I help us here on the broadcast? Keep watching. I'll keep delivering the little jewels, man. Like, introspect. Come on this broadcast. Take what it is that I give you and introspect. Hold me to account. You feel me? Right? Like, you can't accept everything I say at face value. As a matter of fact, I encourage everybody that if you get an item of data, like you get a datum on my channel, I demand that you go and research it for yourself. You need to introspect. Family, this world keeps us running hither and hither and yon, to and fro, right? For self-care and for collective care of our people, we need to pause sometimes and take a good, long, hard look inward with not the lens to judge, but to know. You can't make a judgment until you know. How many of us are operating off of outdated and outmoded ideas, outmoded thought processes, outmoded experiences? We experienced some horrible abusive situation when we were children, and that has driven every action that we've experienced all the way up to today. No. Fam, that was a moment in time, and you need to know that. But the only way you know that is to go in here into that dark place that you refuse to look. And once you know the truth, then you can differentiate. We as ADOS do not have the luxury anymore of lying to ourselves, right? People are always going to lie to us. That is the human experience. How do you combat that? How do you combat people lying to you? Well, it's very simple. You stop lying to yourself so that you can recognize the lies when they appear to you. Right? How do you know it's a lie when all you've ever lived is lies? There are dark things in our minds sometimes, fam. Bad, dusty old memories tucked away in boxes that we thought were good and hidden, that we thought we'd never have to face again. Well, I tell you, as your brother and one who loves you, it's time for you to start going on a rummage sale through your own damn head. Start there. Know what is in you first. You master you, everything else will come a hell of a lot easier, because a lot of us never even getting around to mastering and understanding our own selves. And I know that sounds like a bunch of cliche bullshit, but trust me, as somebody who experienced horrible abuse as a child, and I'm still able to be here smiling, coherent, talking to you, not on psychotropic medication, living a decent life, I had to do the work. I had to go inward and face the demons. Another thing that I would offer you, fam, is that you don't fight, you don't beat your demons. You can't beat them. You know why? Because we are human. We are both angel and devil. You can't destroy the devils. What you can do is you can make your peace with them. Just a little tip. You take it for what it is. I'm done talking, fam. I hope that I've communicated to you, though, the renewed understanding of both the ADOS frustration industry, those who make money off of our suffering, off of selling us pain, selling us suffering, right? Entertaining us with schadenfreude, and also those who keep gassing us up, promising us dream after dream after dream while never even delivering on the basics, right? I hope that I've been able to help you to have a framework to be able to start to discern properly so that you can make the decisions needed. You don't have to depend on Mark Black's opinion of Tariq or Michi. You don't have to depend on the comment section for your understanding. If you go within and do the work, you'll be able to depend on your own understanding. The floor is yours, fam. 425-296-1980 is the number. First come, first serve. You know what it is, fam. I really do hope that you take something positive away. I hope I provided you with something that, even though it's mental, is tangible. Because another thing, fam, is that you notice these people never offer you any tangibles. We always talk about tangibles. We want tangibles. We want substance. Do we? Because why is it that we're so quick to jump up and buy the first non-substantive thing that gets displayed to us? No. Anybody who wants to get your support should be offering you something of substance. Thank you, Maxwell. I appreciate you, fam. And thank you, Nuke. I appreciate you as well, fam. Cool Unc, I appreciate you. I know when I first started talking, y'all all thought that I was going to be blasting this person, blasting that one. No, fam. No, it's a new day as ADOS, right? I want to give us the tools needed for us to always be able to be agile enough to determine what is in our individual, familial, and collective best interests. 425-296-1980, fam. The floor is yours. This is not my broadcast. This is ours. Let us have a give and take. Let us have a dialogue. Is there something that you want to ask about? Is there a statement or a phrase that you want to say, right? You don't need my permission. There's the number right there, 425-296-1980. You damn right, I'm going to be on code. Hey, Jay, Shaw, what's happening, fam? Long time no see. Fam, here's the thing that a lot of you are going to have to get. And it's not pleasant, but you're going to have to get it. You're going to have to get, fam, that we as influencers, we hold a special position with you. And because of that, we have a higher standard that we need to be held to. Now, this is not to say that we're not human, right? That we're not going to make mistakes, fam. Max, I've actually written multiple books, fam. I haven't published them. It is what it is. But we have to understand, fam, that we are capable. We are the only ones that are capable of making the distinctions needed to preserve our personal integrity, to preserve our collective and our tribal integrity. Think about what it is that we've been doing the last few days. It's been beautiful to watch FBA, ADOS, DOAS, BADASS, and all of the other stripes all come out in unison and decry the attempt at shitting on the memory of our esteemed ancestress, Harriet Tubman. There has been no division. None. Wherever you see somebody cleaving to our lineage, fam, we have all been on the same page in protecting the legacy of our ancestress, in defending her life story against those who would slander her, defending each other against those who would utilize these outmoded, moribund, gender war bullshit ass theories against black men and black women. We have been on code, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to see. Beautiful. We ain't been quibbling about who rolls with this personality and this influencer and that. None of that has mattered. We have picked up the mantle and said, no, you will not disrespect the memory of our great ancestress, one of our biggest and brightest luminaries. No, and not only will you not disrespect her, but you're not going to disrespect Bass Reeves. You're not going to disrespect Fred Hampton. You're not going to disrespect any of these people that are coming after this movie. Caller from 516. It's your Mary Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? And what's on your mind? I know who this is.
Hey, Mark.
What's good?
This is Universal Mike. How are you this evening?
Hey, I'm good, fam. It's good to hear from you, brother. I really appreciate you tuning in tonight. The floor is yours, fam. Talk to us.
Well, I really appreciate the conversation, I have to say. Normally, I don't call into anyone's show for several different reasons. And the primary one is that I always want to be able to process what's being said before I come up with any kind of opinion, let's say. But I did get involved in this particular situation earlier today, and I think yesterday is maybe when it started. But I just wanted to sort of clarify the position that I have on the situation, and not necessarily to call out an individual, because there are people that I listen to across the spectrum in terms of what's commonly referred to as the new black media, that I
Facts.
don't agree with every point of. And I think that's fine, right?
Yep.
It's what you said before. You have to do your due diligence, and I take the approach that I've discovered from Neely Fuller Jr. with, again, it's practice, right? But trying not to argue, trying to approach it from a logical perspective, trying to understand what's being said, doing whatever research, and so on and so forth. But the reason that I sort of hopped in on this particular situation was not necessarily to defend one or the other of the individuals, because there are points that I disagree with both of them on, and there are points that I agree with both of them on. But there was something that happened around the time that the candidates were coming forth for the 2020 race, the Democratic candidates. And without mentioning any names, but I'm sure people will know who I'm speaking about when I say this, the person, I was listening to a broadcast, and the person just sort of glibly threw out, well, I might run for president. And I thought, okay, this is kind of strange. And because the person has a particular sizable following, I thought could be also very destructive. But that sort of blew over and nothing really came of it. And when this rolled around with this particular situation, the question resurfaced in my mind when I heard from that person's mouth what they had intended to do is, why is this happening when there are already certain, we'll say, initiatives in process that they could go and support, as opposed to necessarily feeding their own ego,
I
right?
agree.
And it just so happens that one of the other people in the new black media apparently understood the same thing as I understood and put that out. And I hopped on that particular opinion and started to post on Facebook. But again, I certainly appreciate your insight and your discourse this evening in talking about it. I really appreciate that thoughtfulness that you bring to the conversation. And I have to go back and rethink at least what my behavior was in the particular situation. I still stand on my position in terms of how I feel about this scenario. But again, what I'm starting to reconsider is maybe my approach and how I project that beforehand. And so just like I said, when I called in, normally I don't. Normally I sit back and listen to sort of let the ideas percolate and then come to my own conclusion about whatever the circumstance is and then move forward that way. And maybe that's how I should proceed in a certain circumstance like this. I just found it, I have to say, from an emotional perspective, sort of hurtful in the sense that we're trying to do something, and we all know what that is.
Yes.
But it seems like there's a lot of people latching onto it and trying to not necessarily pull it apart, but take something from it, right? For their own ego purposes.
Yep, I absolutely agree. As a matter of fact, that was true confessions mode. I'm everybody that this broadcast was not just for y'all. It was for me too, because I too found myself leaning toward one side over another one. And I even made comments, right, that in retrospect, I still stand on, but I would have maybe did it a little differently. Like, you know, one of the things that I wanted to give, I told you I give credit to Brother Double C's and Pretty Muslima, because I had a conversation with them today. Was one of the things that I wanted to leave with us is that no matter what our particular position is on this, we got to approach other ADOS in a spirit of love. Now, love is not allowance, right? It doesn't mean just let people do dirt. But what it means is that when you love somebody, there's not that automatic assumption of malice, right? There's not that automatic assumption of drama or fuckery, right? You see what I'm saying? When we come at each other from a position of love, fam, it you can still say the same things, right? But it alters the spirit of it. It alters the tenor of it in a way, right? So I think that going forward, this should be a pretty good object lesson for us all, that first of all, yes, our emotions can get up to get up, right? Our emotions can get away from us even with the best of intentions. And another object lesson is that we still have a lot to learn about how to interact with each other on a positive tip as ADOS or FBA, right? We still have some work to do. That's what I hope the takeaway is.
And that's what I need to work on too. Like I said, I listened to Neely Fuller and got my local library to order his books, and I try to, it's a pivot for me, right? Not that I was, down one road or another, or was just, going wild out here, but sort of understanding how to approach or be more considerate, I guess, from a different perspective, right? He
Absolutely.
always talks about logic. And so what I'm trying to do is to sort of apply some of what he talks about to the way that I sort of move through the world, right? For example, he always talks about asking questions, right?
Yes.
Every problem can be solved through a series of question and answers. So instead of, coming with the particular answer, asking questions, right? And letting people develop, the answers for themselves. So a lot of different things. But yeah, again, I appreciate that. I will say, in full disclosure, I've not met anyone personally that broadcast as a part of so-called New Black Media, including Tone and Yvette, because I wasn't able to go to the conference this year, except for Michi. She does have these conferences that come around the country, and she had one near me locally, and I did go there, and I met her personally. And that's not to say anything. Again, I don't know her beyond just my interaction with her at the conference. But through that interaction and through, having participated, I understand what her agenda is, per se, at least in terms of bringing solutions, because that was what the whole conference was about. So she had people there that had solutions that we could actually walk away with.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I appreciated. I'm sorry?
No, I was saying I hear you. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I appreciated by it. And now the other thing that I will say is that I wasn't sure that it was going to fit into my budget, and it wasn't that expensive, but I'm sort of recovering from a year of unemployment last year, and so I don't have a lot of money to spread around for,
I feel you, fam.
Discretionary issues. And I had posted that on Facebook, and she wrote me back in a what is it called, direct message?
Yeah.
And said that if I wanted to, she had a free ticket that she could extend to me. And I said, you know what, let me see if I can scratch up the money, because I'd rather someone else have that ticket if I can afford to pay my own way, which I finally ultimately did.
Right on.
And when I got to the, I'm sorry?
No, I go ahead, fam. I'm shutting up. I'm interjected over here. You
No,
know me. Go
okay.
ahead.
It's just, it's I guess a little bit of a delay somehow. So I wasn't able to hear what you said. But the other thing is, when I got to the event, I have generally a really long work week, and it takes a lot of energy. And so the event started on Friday evening after work, and then there was a whole day Saturday. And they had a meet and greet, VIP meet and greet on Saturday evening. And so at the event, when I was getting ready to leave the day conference, I was even offered a free entrance to the meet and greet that evening, and I declined it just because I didn't have the energy. I mean, it would have been great to be able to go. I had met her personally and hugged her several times, whatever, to be able to sit around the table at a restaurant or whatever and chop it up. I didn't have anything to chop up. I was exhausted by that point, so I just felt like that it wasn't really what I needed to do at that moment.
Yeah.
But again, just from the perspective of understanding at least where she's coming from. Now, I'm not saying I agree with everything that she says, because, this sort of, there's still a lot of rhetoric about how we have a certain amount of spending power and that we can be saved by insurance policies or whatever. I don't get into that, because I kind of, and the same thing with the other side. I mean, I hear things from Tariq that I never address. This one I just found sort of counterproductive, so I felt like I wanted to say something about it. But in any case, I just wanted to put that out on the table too. If I had a chance to meet Tariq, maybe I would do that. If the conference had been closer to me, maybe I would have been able to attend or whatever. I don't know, but again, that's just where I'm coming from with my personal experience.
I appreciate that, fam. I really do. Let me ask you a quick question before I let you go.
Sure.
In your mind, right?
Yeah.
Do you see the need for us to be discerning with how we operate, not just, with each other as ADOS, but with everybody in the country. And the reason why I'm asking that is because charity starts at home. But eventually,
Mm-hmm.
our answers are going to lead us away from each other, right? We're going to have to start branching out, right? Do you think that the work we're doing right now, developing the emotional fortitude, the intellectual rigor in house, how do you think that's going to help us moving out? I know that's a
Um,
tough question, but I'm not trying to put you on the
well,
spot, but I'd love to hear what you think.
yeah, I'm not worried about being put on the spot. And this is also why I don't call in. I'm not, I like to be thoughtful. And again, that's why I sort of approach, information that I'm assimilating in
Mm-hmm.
a particular type of way, as opposed to sort of having a conversation like what we're having tonight, and I do appreciate it. It's, again, not the typical kind of thing I would do. I listen first and then try to assimilate what I'm hearing and
Mm-hmm.
then make decisions about what I'm hearing, and I take what I can from it, but it might not be everything, and then I move forward.
Yep.
But let me say, I don't know if I will be able to answer your question completely, but I'll say it this way. Again, and this is, I don't know, I think I discovered Yvette around the time of that Monique, what was it? The Monique and what was that station? Netflix kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is new, but I've been sort of with Yvette and then Yvette and Tone and some of these other things for a couple of years. And like I said, I listen and I try to assimilate. And there's some things that apply to where I am and some things that don't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of how I work through sort of what you're talking about in terms of how I deal with people that are ADOS or otherwise is, again, I'll have to cite Neely Fuller Jr. Now, I think a lot of people miss this, but it wasn't missed on me because like I said, I listen to him every morning, and I've gotten those books and I look through. When he talks about the code, you know how people always talk about being on code?
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you listen to Neely Fuller Jr., he makes a specific point to say that the code is independent. It is not a group code. You have to develop a code for yourself,
That's
right?
correct.
First. And so that's what I do, is I develop my code, and I decide how I'm going to move and what I need in order to move forward. Now, it might not be right for that moment, but it's as right as I can get it for that moment.
Right
And I
on.
might be able to adjust it tomorrow or next week to be right for whatever that time is. But that's what I'm working on now, is developing a personal code. And sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I say something that's not polite or that might be, as he would say, not very constructive. And I have to back off, right?
Yep.
I might not ever get to the humility to come back around and apologize necessarily for it. But that doesn't mean that I don't recognize it and then try to make some adjustment in the future in terms of my behavior. Or at least if I come back around to it again, then recognize that, hey, this might not be the right way to proceed. And I try to do that sort of across the board.
Yes.
But also in terms of being across from other people or other, we'll say, groups of people that aren't ADOS, is having a little more courage to deal with being full-throated about what I'm saying. So I don't know if you've seen, it's not clear to me whether or not you're on Facebook very much, and I got booted off Twitter. So I had designed a lot of T-shirts, and not necessarily to sell and make money,
Mm-hmm.
but they are for sale. But
Yeah.
I bought most of them myself, and I wear them around because I don't know. I live on Long Island, New York, in the community where I live used to be a lot of ADOS that came up from the South during the Great Migration, but they've left, and so the area now is, at least the neighborhoods where I live, are mostly Hispanic, and then the black people are West Indian for the most part. So it's kind
Right.
of hard to tell who's who. And so I made these T-shirts with the hope of engaging, right? So that I
Yes.
might, someone might see something and say, oh, I listened to Tony and that, or I'm curious. I tried to start a book club and nobody showed up for it. So whatever. But anyway, I was in the grocery store one day and I had on my reparations T-shirt, and this Jamaican lady sort of approached me. And it was sort of a well-to-do neighborhood, not the one that I live in, but
Mm-hmm.
sort of adjacent. And she was in there shopping, and she was like, so do you think we're going to get reparations? I said, well, if we don't fight for it. And she was like, well, I'm Jamaican. Do you think I'm going to get reparations? I said, well, you need to take that up with CARICOM.
Right.
But we're having this conversation in the middle of the grocery store. And so I'm trying to, I probably could have said more, but I was a little bit caught off guard because I wasn't expecting necessarily to have that conversation. But hell, I had on the T-shirt, so I was inviting it, right?
Right.
But I needed to like Cadet said, practice.
Yes.
Right, and I'm trying to think. I had another conversation. I work in New York City sometimes, so I was there, and I had gone somewhere, and I went into a McDonald's to get something to eat on my way home, and there was a guy in there, a security guy, and he asked me the same thing, and I said, we need all hands on deck, basically, and I said, you can go to this website and get the information, and he said, yeah, I see different groups of people, and they come and they do this, and I said, yeah, if you just watch how they move, you'll see that it's never really in our benefit. He didn't never. I don't remember if I asked him if he was a native black, because I try to be very couched in how I ask that. Usually I'll say, where's your family from?
Yeah,
or where
exactly.
Are you from? Because I'm from the South.
Yeah.
Right, and I'm up here. So that usually, sometimes people will say, well, why do you ask or whatever? And I try to, skirt around it if they say something like I'm from the Caribbean or whatever. But I'll say this, with the people that I work with, I'm a corporate trainer. So I go into companies and a lot of government agencies here to do trainings.
That's a good
and
gig,
most of the
man.
black people that I see.
That's a good gig, bro. I'm big ups to you.
No, it's not. No, it's I love what I do. And look, I lived in Germany for 12 years, and this is basically what I did in Germany. So I was looking for a job like this around here, and I moved up to the north because I wasn't able to find it in the area where I was from. And I'm doing it, but I'm well underpaid by about $20,000 to just even be.
Yeah, we gotta fix.
So
we gotta fix that, bro.
Yeah, exactly. But let me just say, the benefit to some degree is that I get to go into all these organizations. So I go into Rikers Island, I go to the NYPD, I go into all the hospitals around New York City and companies out on Long Island. And whenever I see black people, they're not ADOS.
Yeah.
Like. You remember how we said that before 1965, the numbers were to the right of this. That's how I feel about ADOS when I'm going into these companies. Right?
Fam, that experience that you're having, it speaks volumes of the need for us to put in this work. It really does. Right? We have not been able to count truly our erasure from the land that is ours. And it is so important that we have people like you in these spaces to deliver us the information, the truth of our situation. I think that that's the hardest thing for us as ADOS is to face, is the reality of our circumstances, because I've noticed that those of us who don't shy away from the data, who don't shy away from the facts, are able to jump on this thing and ride it till the end, till the wheels fall off, right? But the problem that we're all struggling with, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, fam, is getting people to actually pay attention to the reality of our circumstances, right? That the reality of ADOS life, of FBA life, is more important than anything right now for us to see the truth of the matter.
Yeah, and some of the stories that I hear when I do encounter, like I have these T-shirts, like I said, and when I'm leaving, some of my clients, I'll go in the bathroom and I'll change it to my T-shirts. I don't want them necessarily to see it, but when I get on the street or on the train, I want to already have it on, right?
Right.
And I hear stories sometimes that people will share with me that, like I said, it confirms everything. And it really, to be honest with you, it takes a toll emotionally.
It does.
Because then I wonder, like, what hope is there, right? I'm at the age now where I hope to retire in, 15 years, no more than 20. But you know what? I don't have any effing thing in the bank.
Neither do I, fam. Neither do I. I was just talking to my missus about it the other day, man. She's got a little bit of a 401k. I got buckets, man. So if retirement for some reason was to happen tomorrow, either I'd have to depend on Social Security or it'd be dog food central up in here, man. That's the reality.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And even with Social Security, I won't get a whole lot because I was in Germany for all those years, right? And so, I mean, it looks crazy. And when I try to explain to people, I was talking to, let me close the door here because I'm staying with family.
Mm-hmm.
But I was talking to one of my aunts, um, who's she's my great aunt actually, one of my grandmother's sisters,
Mm-hmm.
and she's in her 70s. So I guess that counts as a baby boomer, or it might be a little earlier. But anyway, I was telling her because we were talking about work and one of my cousins who moved down south and what she was doing, blah blah blah, and she was telling I wouldn't want to say made the mistake of telling me what she made because I'm really happy that my cousin is able to get that amount of money, but she did get a master's, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she was telling me what she made, and it was really frustrating for me to hear because it's almost twice what I make, right? And I'm struggling. I'm like, what in the world is going on? It's not that I don't really know, but it was just another confirmation. And so I was expressing the frustration with my aunt, who always tells me, even at this age that I'm in now, I could have grandchildren, right? But even at this age that am now, she always said, oh, but just wait. Sometimes you have to. I'm like, what? I'm not 21,
Yeah.
right? But anyway, so we were going on, and the conversation ended like, well, you're not gonna like what I have to say, but it's because black men don't take care of their children. I don't have a damn child to cry, right? I'm like single, and she's saying, and
Jesus,
I'm like,
man.
what in the world, right? And so it's like there's like nowhere to turn,
Yeah.
right? It's like you feel, at least the way that I feel here, is really isolated, and
I'm
I'm
gonna
in
tell
New
you
York,
something, fam.
right?
That's why I'm here. That's why your family's here, man. Be here every broadcast. Call in. Get it off your chest, man. Here's the thing, right? We all talk about like sharpening each other. Like the Bible says, like iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another one, right? But we don't talk about the fact that we also need to be a comfort to each other too. Man, it's hard as fuck out here being ADOS, man. If you FBA, it's hard as hell out here. I don't care how good you got it. You feel me? I don't
Yeah.
care. And sometimes, fam, we need to extend that hand of love out to each other. You feel me? Look, until we have a formalized system of lineage therapy to give us the mental tools and stuff like that, the emotional tools that we need to continue to fight this battle. Sometimes we just got to be our brother and our sister's keeper, and that's just the way it is. And you don't have to like it, but that's the facts. So fam, don't you ever think that you don't have a voice. There's people in this chat right now who would tell you, shoot me an email, blackoutcastmedia@gmail. You want my number, fam? You can call me anytime. We could chop it up. If you got some ideas you want to run by a brother, you got something you want to ping off me just to get your head right. Man, I got you, because that's what family is. We're not just a tribe, we're family, man, in a real
Well,
sense.
and I appreciate it. I do. And like I said, I tune in, when I can and when I have enough energy. Fortunately, it's the weekend right now. During the week, it's sometimes a little more difficult when it gets late. But yeah, and I know I communicate with some people on Facebook and try to have some outlet that way. I had
Yeah.
a therapist, and I went out of my way to find a ADOS therapist. He's in Minnesota, of all places.
Oh,
But I
thank you
would have
so
rather.
much, though, man, for getting some therapy, man. I'm telling you, I've been long overdue. I got to do a broadcast discussing mental health care. We got to get past all of this rigmarole around getting assistance for mental health. Is so important, man. Thank you for
Yeah,
mentioning
I
that.
agree. When you start to look at the details of it, just beyond the thought processes, but when you look at epigenetics, right, or
Yep.
intergenerational trauma and all this stuff that we have to deal with that Dr. DeGroote talks about, or resmetinism and so on
Yes.
and so forth, then you realize how even critical that situation is, right? So it's no wonder that we sort of behave the way that we do on social media towards each other because these
Facts.
things are sort of cellular
Man,
now,
we got
right?
trauma in our cells, in our very genes, man. The trauma that our ancestors faced was given birth to, and those genes expressed within us. We
Yep.
literally walk in their shoes because we bear the same burdens that they bore. And until such time as we are effective in changing the environment and getting an environment of justice to be born here in the United States, we will continue to face those hereditary traumas that we have not been able to overcome as a collective. So that's absolutely true, fam. Absolutely.
One last thing that I'll say. I know it's gotten way off topic, but I didn't have the words for this before, and certainly not this whole idea of ADOS when this happened 20 years ago. But you know how that always talks about escape hatches?
Yes.
Well, when I had graduated college, and by that time I was in my late 20s. It took me a long time to graduate. And I was working, I just started working for a company and starting to run into those brick walls in corporate, right?
Yep.
And I had just come to the conclusion that I had had enough. I would be followed home by the police like so often. It was ridiculous, right? And you know what I did? I just bought at that time the internet was new. So it was Yahoo instead of Google.
Yep.
I got on Yahoo and I bought a ticket to Europe. And I didn't even care where, to be honest with you. I made sort of an excuse, but I bought a ticket. I didn't even have a passport. And I had to hurry up and get the passport and all this stuff. And I left the country for those 12 years, right? And I have to say that while it wasn't perfect, it was the most carefree that I felt. And ultimately, it didn't work out in terms of how I had hoped it would.
Mm-hmm.
And for, I think, obvious reasons at this point, that racism has no boundaries.
That's right. It
so,
sure doesn't.
And white supremacy, I guess I should say more than even racism,
Yeah.
it just doesn't have any boundaries. And so I ended up coming back to the States. And, now I feel like, okay, there's a purpose in terms of what's going on now with helping to try to move the whole group forward, right? Because I would love, to be honest with you, even with what's going on now, I would love to be able to escape again, but I am hip enough to the game now to know that there is no escape.
Brother,
right? I wish there was one.
Brother, let me tell you something. The hallmark of ADOS, these colors don't run.
Yeah.
Our fight's here, fam. We can, and we've had a lot of ADOS brothers and sisters that have tried to go elsewhere. Josephine Baker being one. She lived in Paris for decades, right? Many of our greats, W.E.B. Du Bois ultimately immigrated to Ghana and so on and so forth. But what we'll find, fam, is that America is the linchpin of what we call white supremacy. We pull the pin here. It falls everywhere else. So our work, while it's the most crazy, making stressful, thing in the world, we were built for this. We were made for this.
And that's what I have to keep reminding myself. Not that I, like I said, even have anywhere to go if I could, but that the reason that I'm back here is specific, and I might not have understood it at that point, but it's becoming clearer,
yes,
right?
Sir.
That this is part of what I have to do, and part of that is also accepting it 100%, right? So, I'm on board with ADOS and what's going on, but there's still a lot to be developed.
Yep, absolutely.
And I'm still in the dark room developing.
Well, hey, fam, I want to say, damn, great call, man. Great conversation. Thank you so much for you trusting us to hear your story, to hear what you have going on. Don't be a stranger, man. We're here for you, fam.
Thank you, Mark, and thanks, fam. Y'all have a great evening.
Yes, sir. Peace. Woo, fam. Whoa, that's what I'm talking about, fam. That right there is what I'm talking about, right? There's no need for the drama, no need for the rancor. There's no need for us to be going at each other's necks and so on and so forth. Everybody expects that when ADOS gathers together, when FBA gathers together, that there's going to be bullshit, drama, fuckery. We're here to overturn all of that. And we can't do that by being stuck and stayed, right? Stayed, S-T-A-I-D. We cannot be so stayed and moribund that we don't. When I asked the brother about how we could maneuver outside of ADOS, you notice he mentioned the need for mental flexibility. Bam, We descend from a group of people made up of various ethnic groups and tribal affiliations in Africa that systematically had their culture stripped away from them. And we have been left with an acculturative process of culturation for us. But what that means truly for us, fam, if we really were to explore the ramifications of that, is that means that we are the only group of human beings on the planet capable of doing something that no one else can do. We actually have the capability to change our culture because everybody else's culture is entrenched. If you're English, if you're British, you have British culture that goes back 8, 900, 1,000 years, whatever. If you Chinese, you got culture that goes back. So many people on the planet don't have the luxury of questioning their culture, but we do. Calling from 510. This your man Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind? Make sure you turn down the background, by the way, too. Getting the
I know, I just did. I'm sorry.
No, you good. What's up, sister?
Nothing much. Calling to say hello to the family. This is Pretty Muslima, everyone.
What's on your mind, sister? Talk to us.
Okay, the last caller, was that Universal Mike?
Yeah.
Can I shout him out?
Please
Shout
do.
out to you, Universal Mike, because he was telling me how he wanted to call in, but he didn't know what to say. I encouraged him to call. I told him to just listen
I'm glad you did,
to the broadcast and see what he can gain from it, then call in. So he said, okay, and he called. Good for you. You had a very good call, by the way.
Absolutely.
So anyways, I want to address the thing about the different conferences. I think that it can be a very healthy thing as long as every conference is different. And so I know Michi X has her thing going on. I'm not sure that she's coming to St. Louis or that she's been here, but I've heard very good things about it from a couple people that I actually met at our conference. They said they learned a lot from it. So, and it was nothing to do with what we did at the ADOS conference. And so I would say this with the SBA conference, it seems that it would be different there too, with just the names that he threw out of who he might bring and what he might want to have there, because he really is nothing concrete. So I feel like it would be different and it would be, good for us. I just think that he should be careful with the timing and not have it so close to the ADOS conference. That would be my only concern. But since everything is up in the air right now, maybe somebody will, one of his groupies, I'm sorry, that's kind of disrespectful, one of his followers will call or, get in touch with him and let him know that, okay, this is close to the ADOS conference. Can we just have it, later than that or next year, perhaps? Yeah. I wouldn't say that Tariq is apolitical because he's not. I can remember in 2016 when he thought that we should stay at home. Okay, he was like, look, these damn Democrats ain't done shit for us, and I don't know how long. We don't need to be voting for nobody. Yeah. Hillary Clinton is not the one. So he really, it's like he's in tune too. He's not just on the fuckery or just only talking about white supremacy. He's always keeping us up to date with current events and the current abuses of the police or suspected white supremacists, as he would say. So I think that all of the conferences are helpful. And by the way, Dr. King did point out in the book, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community, how there should be different groups. Like there should not just be one group. Yeah. Okay? I even found my book so I can read it to you. Page 132.
I don't have it up this time, so I'm going to have to take your word for it.
That's okay. Just write it down and look at it later. Page 132. So he says, this plea for unity is not a call for uniformity. There must always be healthy debate. There will be inevitable differences of opinion. The dilemma that the Negro confronts is so complex and monumental that its solution will of necessity involve a diversified approach. But Negroes can differ and still unite around common goals. And so that's why I feel like it is okay if FBA does a conference but the timing does need to not be so close to the other one because of the data. Because it's like, okay, if anybody paying attention to this data, Black people are broke.
Facts.
So it cannot be 2 months within the ADOS conference because I know me personally, as much as I want to go to the SBA conference, I will be in Louisville with my family. I will not be there if he has it so close, and he should not want to have it that close. But I'm thinking that maybe he doesn't know that we're having another conference because Michi X even, I don't think she knows either because she was speaking like hypothetically when she was talking about, if they have a conference next year, well, we've already announced. So maybe people can come up to speed as to what we are really doing. Like Tony Yvette already put it out there that we're doing 2020. So hopefully he takes that into account and, is flexible with his date or whatnot. But then even if he doesn't,
I think those are
to
great
me,
concerns.
yeah, to me, I do feel in a way that even if he doesn't change and we're very close, that could be for the people who can't get across the country to Louisville. Maybe for the Georgians or, the people who are right there. So, it could still work. I just think that we should just be more loving and be able to accept that other things are going to go on. Like it's not only ADOS. We have other people out here that are ADOS, but might be saying D1, might be saying FBA, might be saying DOAS, might be saying a whole lot of things. BA, DOA. It's
Right.
so many
Yeah, exactly.
different nomenclatures. So if we're going for the same goal, if we all want reparations, if we all want tangibles, if we all want, the system of racism, white supremacy to go away, and we all want to deconstruct this thing so we can reconstruct it, that's what's important.
Facts.
All that other stuff is, I don't know. I just feel like we need to open our minds up. And that's why when you talked about the mental agility, I'm always talking about critical thinking. Like it's a skill. You have to build it.
Yep, you have to build it. You have to do
and
the work.
So if somehow, Brother Mark, you can help us or we, I don't know, I know you offered for me to broadcast on the on Black Outcast Media, but I don't know. You remember how Tony and Yvette used to do videos together? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Right. So, I don't know if you wanted to do something like that because my thing is I just want to be able to, help open people, help to exercise the critical thinking aspect because Lord knows I'm out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hear you.
My thinking is really out in the universe, and I think it's important. Usually when I have conversations with people, I'm always able to help them see a different view. Now, sometimes it's like, well, you know what, sister, we're going to agree to disagree. And I say, no, I don't agree to disagree. If I don't agree with you, I just don't agree. Because I'm a non-conformist. Like, I just don't, I step to my own beat, like in all things seriously my whole life. But I just wanted to add that to the conversation of let's not be afraid or let's not shout down the fact that different conferences are popping up. I will say, your attendance can go up if maybe this person has never talked about whatever they're throwing this conference for. So if Tariq had never touched the topic of politics ever, then yeah, we probably should be concerned and worried. And I do get that the family is like $200,000. Good Lord, when I feel the same way. But for the people, who have the money, for the people who don't mind, funding it, because this is what he does. Since he's been out here doing Hidden Colors or whatever project he has, he always says, okay, family, I'm doing this new project. I need you to help me. I'm going to put up a crowdfund. And people do it. I've never done it.
You know what? I've had to make my peace with it, sister, because, look, I'm a human being too, right? I have my own opinions about how certain people do different things or how they say certain things, right? I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a saint and I, just got overwhelming heart full of love for everybody. I got my own little, where I'm like, right? You know what I'm saying? But with that said, though, I do think that diversity to a great extent is a strength of ADOS if utilized properly. The only issue that I've ever seen is that, and this is true for all of us, because this is what we all mostly have seen, is that these small differences, right? You know, Pretty Muslima, there's a term that I use, right, called the narcissism of small differences, right? Are you familiar with me using that term, right? The reason why I call it narcissism is because what happens is we take these small differences as ADOS, right? Like maybe FBA might use this type of terminology, or DOS will wave the flag and and talk about Norris Shelton and so on and so forth, right? And we'll take these small differences and we give them more weight than they should. And we start to magnify them to the point where those differences become our only view, similar to the myth of Narcissus falling in love with this reflection in the well, in the water, right? We fall in love with our differences instead of that which keeps us united. So as long as that doesn't become the order of the day, I see no problem whatsoever with diverse, whether you call yourself ADOS or DOAS or BADASS or FBA. I don't see no problem whatsoever with that.
Hey, do you see the person in the chat who just said, Miss Denny, no disrespect, 200K is not a lot for a conference? Can we put the details in it?
Who said that?
Let's see here.
Because, I just don't speak on it because I really don't know how much it costs, but I do know Mickey X was expressing that she spent between 25 and 30 grand.
Okay, pause.
City.
Sorry. I did not want this to go specifically into the conference thing, but what I will say is this. There's a brother that I watch, and I don't agree with everything the brother has to say, but I esteem the shit out of this gentleman. His brother goes by the name of Eli. He has a channel on YouTube called What Happened to Common Sense, I believe is the title of his channel. And he did a live stream today. Now, this brother is a business guy, right? He's a hardcore capitalist, black capitalist business dude. And he's a little harsh sometimes. I found that most of those black capitalist cats are like that. But that being said, he does operate from a very data-oriented point of view. And on his broadcast today, now I didn't catch the whole thing because I had to broadcast, but I think he went into detail about why the $200,000 number was actually not that big. Now, again, I can't give any weight to that because I haven't seen it, right? I'm just keeping it a buck. I haven't seen the full broadcast, full disclosure, right? But I believe he was going into detail as to why that number was actually relevant, right? So I would encourage you to look at his work because he is very data oriented, right? And he operates from a standpoint of view of giving the facts. You feel me, right? Whether you agree that we should be doing a $200,000 plus conference or not, right? I don't want to get into that. I have my opinions about it. You have your opinions about it. But what I will say is that it will be beneficial to us to at least get as much of the data around whether or not that's even a valid number for a conference or whatever, as opposed to just instantly reacting like we do, like, nigga, $200, right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, like $200,000. Like, I get it. I do it too, but we need to make sure we got our ducks in a row before we go there. You feel me?
Oh, wait, did you hang up on her? Oh, shit.
I'm sorry. Sorry, Pretty Muslima. Hey, caller from 216. It's your man, Mark Black. What's your name? Where you calling from? What's on your mind?
How you doing? My name is Nija. I'm calling from Cleveland by way of Akron.
Nija, welcome to the broadcast, sister. Glad to have you. Floor is yours. Talk to us.
Okay, so I do think it's a great thing that we're having another conference. The issue that I have is that when you look at what ADOS does compared to what FBA and B1 does, we're anchored in the data of Black people are about to go off an economic cliff. We don't have a whole lot of money to give.
Right.
Thank you.
And while I understand that there are many of us, there are a lot of us who are in this, and there are a lot of us who are involved in doing this work. Even $50 for a ticket is a stretch.
Yeah.
And most of us aren't near Georgia. I'm up in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest, sister. I feel you. I said, I'm up in the Pacific Northwest. I feel you.
Yeah, and I know it takes money to run these conferences, but when you look at what Yvette and Tone had to do, they had it at a church. And they were hooked up with Dr. Cosby so that they could have something of a free venue.
Yeah.
And the amenities were kept relatively cheap. So it seems, I mean, I can't say because I didn't actually get to go, but from what everybody was talking about on Twitter, they made it accessible in a way. $15 for a pre-sale ticket.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people. I'm one of those black people. I got a good job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm far above the $35,000 median income for Black Americans in America.
Hey, sister, let me hold a little. No, I'm just messing with you. Go ahead, Nigel. I'm just messing with you, sister.
Yeah. I bless them for doing it. I think it's a great idea, but I just really, really hope that we can make something like this happen, and I would love to see it grow from that 2,000 number that we did in Louisville to like 5,000 for this FBA conference. I would love to see that, and if I can participate, I would love to do it, but it's a stretch.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I'll be honest. I'm at the point now with the conference of just simply encouraging the efforts of any ADOS individual to further the goals and benefits of ADOS. I will be watching with interest to see how it plays out. You get where I'm coming from, because I think that none of us are wrong for wanting to ensure that this is something substantive. Because I'll be honest with you, my biggest concern, truth be told, my biggest concern is simply that we don't get as much of a return for what we put in on it. That's really truly it. Like if you ask Mark Black, what's your concern? I don't have nothing against Tariq, personally. I don't know the man, right? So I don't have nothing against the brother, none of that or any of that, right? My thing is that crowdsourcing is a type of investment, right? You do that like Kickstarter. You have new products that launch on Kickstarter and things like that, right? These people are investing in an opportunity to get something in return of value, right? I will be interested to see just what the value will be, other than maybe if you put in 100, you get VIP. Like, I don't want this to be like, the nightclub. You see what I'm saying? Like, I want there to be something substantive, something tangible, right? Because we talk about tangibles all the time. It'd be nice to have something tangible, but I just want to make sure that there's a proper value add, that what we're investing in the conference, if you choose to invest, you get something of value other than rhetoric in return. You feel me?
Right.
So that's my concern. But again,
I mean, if you're oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Yeah, if you're gonna give them $200, I would want more than just a swag bag. And I can't remember what it was, like a wall of warriors that's supposed to be up there if you contribute a certain amount, and $50 is just for general admission. And
wow, is that true? $50 is general admission that they're talking about for this conference?
Yeah, that's what's on the Kickstarter page.
Jesus Christ, I can't ride that. I'm just not even gonna front. I can't call it. Not and fly my whole family out to the ATL. Not put them up in a hotel, right? I can't call that. Now that's me. Again, there are ADOS people, there are FBA people who are looking at this and saying, "Hey, I'm down with that. Please, I encourage you, do your thing, do you, right?" But I'm telling you, that's something a lot. That's not even counting for food, fuel, insurance for your rental car if you get one, or whatever the case may be. That's not counting the money you're gonna miss taking time off from work. I can't call that. So that's
like
Mark Black. I can't call that.
Great jobs where we can afford to. I've heard some people say like, "Oh, it's going to be a 3-day conference." I've heard it's going to be a 5-day conference. Who's got time and money to go away for 3 to 5 days to
off of their job.
to who knows what.
Good
I
question.
just want to see what he comes up with as far as where you're going, what you're going to get, what's going to be provided. I'm trying to be like the people who were riding so hard for Jay-Z and saying, like, let's just wait and see, let's just wait and see. But I was kind of hoping, like, they're doing something like this so it'll be laid out a lot better and in telling us, like, what the tangibles are. Because how can we demand tangibles from the government as far as reparations and the Black agenda, and you're hosting this event, and there's not enough tangible things there, just a ask for money, and you're gonna get some stuff.
Sister, do you know the website for the FBA conference? Is there a URL or something like that? I'll pop it into the chat for people who want to go and check it out.
Ooh, I gotta dig it up myself.
Okay, I'll just have to go look for it. Let me see if I can find out, because I'm on Twitter right now, so I'm certain I can be able to find somebody posting about it. Let's see here. But sister, yeah, I'll let you have the last word. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk with us about today?
Nothing else. I'm certainly not gonna go see Harriet.
You better not.
Oh my God! Like, what in the world type of mess is that? It's like we every 3 to 4 years we get a slave movie, and when we have the opportunity, let's tell it right. Don't do this to us. I mean, you don't see Jewish people trying to figure out a way to incorporate somebody about how they ratted out other Jews, and everybody ends up in the Holocaust.
Yep.
You don't see Japanese people. I mean, I can't think of any Japanese internment films, but you don't see Japanese people trying to develop a character that was against other Japanese people to tear them down. Why is it that only our people are so convinced that we have to have these things in order to get the film done? I can't stand that.
You know what? Because
crazy.
Look, I've come to understand this clearly, sister, and I'm certain that you'll agree with me on this. That movie wasn't made for us.
Absolutely not.
That movie was for white consumption only. If you look at the breakdown of the numbers on opening night, 54% white folks, 33, 34% or something like that, black folks went to go see this movie. It was more white folks. It's for them, it's forgiveness porn, right? They can point and look at different white characters in the movie and say, see, not all white people was bad back during slavery. We really tried to do right by black folk. It wasn't. And then, of course, they made the very I don't know why they call it smart, but they made the decision to not. See, here's the thing, right? The problem I have with slave movies, fam, it's not the fact that they're slave movies, right? We should know. We should have a slave movie every year, in my opinion. The problem I have with slave movies is that they don't show slavery. They try to make slavery look like, oh, we was just, being held hostage on the plantation, and that was as bad as it got. But they don't talk about the whipping machines. They don't show the raping, the brutality. They don't show, the closest they came to it was in 12 Years a Slave, when they would get a lashing if they didn't pick 500 pounds of cotton, right? That was the kind of the closest thing they came to, actually, in most recent times that I've seen, to kind of showing some of the brutality of slavery. Nate Parker showed the brutality of slavery in his movie, but of course we had to shout him down because of the allegations, which he was found innocent on, as for rape and so on and so forth, right? So, when we get a movie that would show the true horrors of what our ancestors had to face, and that would be traumatic. Don't get me wrong. I understand why some of us just don't want to see that, right? But we can't keep sugarcoating that era like, oh, they just couldn't leave the plantation and they had to go and pick cotton. That was not the totality of slavery. That wasn't even close to the totality of what our ancestors, the hells and the killing fields of the South that we had to face. That's my issue with it. If you're going to show it, show it. Exactly, Tia. Show a slave movie where that damn doctor, who's the so-called father of gynecology, developed the speculum and other tools on enslaved women with no anesthesia, right? Show that shit. Show the whipping machine with the soaked straps of leather in the thing, and they strap to a board and they turning the wheel, just lashing them over and over and over with these big pieces of leather, just beating the skin loose off of them. Show that, because I'm telling you, fam, they keep trying to deny the reality of what it is for us to be ADOS. Show the breeding plantations and show us sometimes not even knowing who it is that we were forced to breed with. Could have been our mama, our sister, our cousin, or whatever. When we call each other fam, how do we know that ain't more true than we know? See what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
Like, let's keep it a buck. I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm like eager to see every slave movie to come out, but I'm sure sick of seeing these sugar-coated white savior, we abolish slavery movies. No, show me the shit from like 1823. Show me from 1831 when slavery was so bad that Nat Turner had a vision and rose up with 70 people and kicked some ass. Show me that.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, watching the Nat Turner film, the part that got me was when they had the slave that refused to eat, and they took the pick and then just knocked all the teeth out, just shoved the food in them. It was like, that's what we need to see. That's the reality of slavery that we don't talk about.
We don't talk about that.
Why don't we do that?
We don't talk about George Washington's dentures being made with the teeth knocked out of the heads of his slaves. You feel me?
Lord.
Let's tell the truth and shame the damn devils. We try to make what happened with Sally Hemings and Thomas Jefferson a damned love affair. That wasn't a love affair. That was a man raping an underage slave girl and doing it repeatedly over years.
And forcing her to have children. And then the children served him, making him and his life comfortable. And that was Jefferson, his wife's half-sister.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel me? Jessica said, thank you, sister. Hey, I'm gonna go ahead and start wrapping this up because I know it's getting late and I want y'all to enjoy your weekend. But sister, I love you. Please do not be a stranger, Nigel. Call in anytime, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a good night.
You too, sister. Peace. Jessica said, I didn't see the Nat Turner film, but I'm definitely interested now. You should see it. Damn what anybody was talking about. You should see it. I'm going to take this last call. Caller from 323, it's your man Mark Black. What's your name, where you calling from, and what's on your mind? Oh, caller, make sure you turn off your speakers in the background because I'm getting the feedback.
Okay, you should be off. I just shut it up. Hey, brother, Mark, I was listening to the brother about the mental health. I work in mental health, and the healing is in the work.
That's
Getting
right.
out there and interacting with other ADOS people. You got to do the work. You got to be out there, and the mental relief is in telling somebody else. A problem shared is a problem solved. You got to wake up as many people as you can.
Absolutely,
We're coming off a cliff. And because if you sit around and you put all projecting into the future is negative, about 85% of people thinking into the future, because I'm coming up on retirement. Hell, I'm probably going to have to work longer than I'm supposed to, because I bit the Pan-African apple and went over there, got married to African, got a little young girl, and hell, now I got a 10-year-old.
I feel you, fam. I feel you. Brother, let me ask you something, man, because you talking about a subject that's near and dear to my heart. You said that the healing is in the work. I want you to elaborate on that, because I, first of all, agree 100%. My work as an ADOS advocate and proponent keeps me sane. I won't even lie to you. It keeps me sane.
The key. If you sit around and think about your condition, then you'll become overwhelmed. You'll say, we're not going to turn around. But here's the thing that you need to understand. Getting out here pushing ADOS 101, the agenda, talking about 2053 wealth going to zero, talking about our place in our aspiration, talking about actually what we're not even talking about is we have a health disparity.
Yeah.
We have a mental health disparity. Here's the thing. We have to meet each other and know that we're not in this alone. It's not just, see, when you think it's happening to you by yourself, you think it's woe is me. But now you realize it's happening to everybody.
Yep.
And now you know who it's happening to. See, what we got to let our people know is these people got a history of doing this to people. Just look at the Indian.
Yep.
Do you want that to happen to you? See, indecision is a decision.
Thank you.
My mother used to say it like this. She would walk in the room, and I would be sitting up there. We grew up on a farm in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
My mother would walk in the room. No, it would be my father. He would walk in the room, and I'd be laying in there. We had bunk beds because we had a lot of kids there. I'd be laying in the bed, and my father would say, "What you doing?" Then I mess around. I say nothing. And then he'll look at me and he'll look at the ground and then he'll say, "Hey, but one bad thing about doing nothing." And, you know, I got to ask, "What's that?" He'll say, "You never know when you're through." Tell you what, go get that shovel, go out there in that garden and get behind the business end of it. I'll let you know when you're through.
Man, I would have loved your daddy because that's a man after my own heart, man. Because I'm telling you.
Man, from the South, he had thousands of sayings that other people, I still use them in my group. Like I told you, I work in mental health. He had one to where this is what we come from. And people used to say birds of a feather. And people would say flock together. He said, nope, they don't. He said, sometimes you don't know who you're flocking with.
Yeah.
You know. So I'm telling you, I got Jews on top of Jews.
Hey, my mom is the same way. You know, when I was a kid, I'd be like, "Mama, why you always talking crazy?" But man, as an old head with my own kids, man, I'd be quoting my mama like you would not believe. I tell my kids in a minute, I'd be like, birds of a feather flock together and geese don't fly with crows. Because she'll say that to me in a minute, right? You know what I'm saying? But if you think about it, bro, I like how you expressed this wisdom that we have embedded in our culture over generations. Yes, we have trauma. That's for certain. But fam, our ancestors distilled some core truths that they tried to pass down to us that we have neglected. These little funny sayings and stuff like that we used to think meant, oh, these monkeys, they country, right? No, these sayings was homespun wisdom from a people that had to face reality at its worst every day and find the tools, the means by which to be able to continue to get up and make it do what it do from one day to the next. We do ourselves a disservice by denying that mother wisdom, that earth wisdom that our ancestors provided for us in these little sayings, these old, like Cool Unc said, like these old school one-liners. They seem funny to us, but that's because we don't sit there and think and pay attention and ponder the deeper meaning of this wisdom that only comes from the experience that we faced in the crucible.
And here's another thing, real quick, brother. That is the fuel that gets me going. Now, I'm coming from Los Angeles. Now, you imagine, we're way behind enemy lines.
Yep.
But that's the fuel that keeps me going. I'm always out there pushing ADOS 101. If you look at my page, you'll see me. I'm up there posting this. I'm out there in the streets. I'm always, even the people at work, I'm always telling them, hey, look, do not go see a movie that's erasing you. Do not participate in this.
That's right.
In a few months, I'll be 60. I know what it was like to have the government on your side. With the government on your side, I got retirement coming. Yeah. With the government on your side, during the period, it's a matter of moments. Mm-hmm. I just finished school, high school. That's all I finished. I was able to go on during that period with politically aware ADOS community. I was able to go to school for free.
That's what's up.
See,
that's what's up.
We lost so much. When you know what it was like, here's the thing about what we had. It's just a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but it was just a little bit of the government working for us with affirmative action. Affirmative action was, if you wanted to be a doctor, the government got everything you needed to have to become one. And that's the difference. And that's what the pale people in the community have. We don't have that. We have a disconnected elite group who are not concerned. But what we do have, we've been battle tested and tried. But one of the things we got to understand with this conference, we got to keep our eyes on the prize. I'd rather they have picnic instead of a damn conference, because we need to get to know each other and just a hug fest.
I'm with that, fam. I could, man, I'm telling you, I could hug my people all day and never get tired. Seriously.
Yeah. Because we need to be able to not get rid of rage, we need to direct it in a positive manner.
That's right.
My mentality and where I'm at now, and I lived in Africa, but my mentality is I'm gonna die doing this work. I don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but every moment I got, every chance I got. Look, man, we have endured so much, but you have to understand there's a spiritual component that a lot of y'all can't see because I'm older. The way we built and how forgiving and how we look at things, we have to be put to the wall with a gun and a head and for us to unite and move forward. If there wasn't no cliff, we will be booty shaking times 10. Hell, we would have lights on their ass shaking.
I'm gonna tell you, brother. You know, first of all, as my elder brother and somebody, you know, obviously worthy of respect, man. I hope that you live long enough to see the fruition of all of our hopes and goals and dreams, because your birthday's coming up soon. So if I don't get to wish you a happy birthday, I wish you right now early happy birthday. The second thing that I would like to say to you is that I want you to be heartened, because too many of our elder brothers and sisters, right, the generations that came before, saw us later generations sort of as throwaways, right? That we was never going to amount to nothing, that we just, you know, took what gains that they worked so hard to get and just said whatever. But I'm here to show, hopefully brothers like myself, others like me, and others like our angry black sheep here are here to give you that inspiration to let you know that we did not completely drop the ball, that there is enough of us that are willing to pick up the baton and move forward on this thing, to see justice not just for ourselves, but for our hallowed ancestors, the ancestors that survived the worst of the crucible, the worst of the killing fields, you know. So I just hope, I hope that you get a chance to see that.
Brother, really quick, I'm going to make this really quick.
Yes, sir.
You didn't drop the ball. What happened was you had a professional historic class that came in and sold an African dream on a job that had not been completed. We only opened the door. We didn't pry it open. They went from the civil rights into an African mothball dream.
Yeah.
And the only thing, this is what makes this so, this is what you got to understand. If you would have called somebody a descendant of a slave when I was young, they would have to find the damn pieces of your body that they cut you up from. And to be able to stand on that square and be proud of that, you can't be shaken.
Absolutely.
You can't be moved.
Absolutely. Absolutely,
that
brother.
Was the missing piece. And that's the unifying piece. And that's the piece that scares the hell out of everybody.
Sir, damn. I can't say it no better. Claim the name. To be able to stand on our heritage and lineage, not with disgust, not with, oh, we tainted, but with pride. That was the missing ingredient. Y'all family, y'all heard the elder brother. Y'all heard him. Thank you so much for that, brother. We appreciate that.
All right, Brother Mark.
Hey, brother, don't be a stranger. Call in anytime. You are honored. You are welcome. It is our
I
pleasure to
talked to you
have.
before, brother.
Keep,
Did you do any protesting about Harriet? Did you go out there?
unfortunately, I had some fatigue yesterday, and so I wasn't able to really do it like I want to, but I'm planning on going tomorrow. And I'll take some pictures and post it up on the channel.
Yeah, I'm going to Alabama for Thanksgiving, and I'm taking flyers and everything, and I'm going to try to wake as many people up as I can.
That's my
But
man.
I'm in LA all over the place. I was
Yes,
at
sir.
the Taste of Soul, me and Afroplex.
Oh, shout out to
that's
Afroplex.
Yeah, and yeah, so every event, I'm part of ADOS LA, ADOS SoCal, and we moving.
That's what's up. I see y'all moving down there. Y'all better watch out though. ADOS Sacktown is trying to catch you.
We've been working with them.
Yeah, I'm teasing. Yeah, I know y'all get
Brother
down
Mark
together.
And Brother Mark oh man, we met him. We came to one of our town hall events, brother.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Brother, Brother Tone talks to say, boy, we got some cooking in the pot. Wait till we tell you about what we got cooking in the pot. I can't talk about it, but we got something cooking in the pot.
That's what's up, fam. I look forward to hearing what y'all doing down there because y'all doing big things. And again, man, I appreciate you, fam. Thank you as always.
All right, my brother.
Yes, sir. Peace.
And keep up. Love you on Breaking Brown. Keep it going.
Oh, I will, sir. I can't do nothing else.
All right, brother.
Peace.
All right.
Okay, so I got 2 last calls if y'all willing to ride. Pretty Muslima is going to call back in and finish up her call. And yes, Brother Chaos, you go ahead and call in too as well. All right? So, Sister Muslima, the line is yours. You call in. Let's have it. But fam, the elder brother told you. Cleaving to our lineage was the one thing that this country never wanted us to do. There we go. Go ahead, sister. Chop it up.
All right. I'm going to try to keep this quick because chaos coming in behind me. So I went to Tariq Nasheed's Facebook page to pull up the Kickstarter.
Mm-hmm.
And he does have some pretty steep prices. Now, the cheapest one is $50, but I also wanted to juxtapose that to the Black Agenda Tour to see how much they were charging.
Yeah.
And they are charging anywhere from $25 to $250. So I don't understand really what the whole deal is.
Oh.
I mean, I do, but I don't because y'all are charging people a lot of money too.
See?
So
again,
anyway,
thank you. Thank you for getting the data.
But so I just wanted to see. I know that what Tony and Yvette charged us was truly like cheap and not something that anybody normally does. So let me preface it with that. I knew for sure that they're the aberration in the situation.
Now let me ask you a question, sister. Yeah. So, you know, the thing is that we are all well aware that it takes resources to pull things off, right? Now, with acknowledging that, you know, Yvette and Tone with the ADOS conference was an outlier, right? Where, in your opinion, just in your opinion, if you don't feel like you want to offer it, it's no problem. But where, in your opinion, do you see something that's a happy medium, right? Something that provides a combination of affordability while still providing adequate resources for people to pull off a quality thing, right? Because
I think okay, let me first say the pledge of $50 or more gets you in. If you pledge now, like if you give your money up front, the $50, you're in. You don't have to pay again. If you choose not to do this, I'm inferring that the general admission ticket is $50. But on here, it just talks about pledges. If you pledge $50 or more, there's general admission. If you give $100 or more, that's the prime seating pass. $200 VIP admission, pledge $500 or more, meet and greet pass. Pledge $900 or more, you get a general vendor booth. If you pledge $1,500 or more, you get the VIP vendor booth placement. $3,000 is VIP event sponsor listening. Plus a whole lot of other stuff that come with it, but that's just I'm giving you the general categories of how much you can pledge or donate.
Yeah.
So the donation, because my thing was, okay, that's a lot of money. Is it going to be free? Well, if you pledge, I mean, it's not really free, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
That's your way in, is if you pledge $50. And that's not really different from what people had to pay if they were over 25 for the Black Agenda Tour. For 25 and under, the ticket was only $25. But if you're older than that, then that's when it went to, like, let me pull it up, $50.
Got you. Okay. Yeah, I appreciate, sister, you taking the effort to inform us, you know what I'm saying, at least to let people do their due diligence, right, and make their own determination as to, whether or not that's a cost that they feel comfortable bearing or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So, yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, no problem. But Tariq did say, with Kickstarter, if you don't raise all the money, everybody gets their money back. So it's not like you got took. If you want to really go and you pledge to 50, which is general admission, you're in. There's nothing else that you have to give up. So I thought, to each his own. I think that that's not a bad deal.
Yeah.
For that being that's your ticket, because that's not any different from what the Black Agenda Tour is doing.
I feel you. Absolutely. I mean, again, I think it comes back to do your due diligence, count the costs, be discerning, right? Ensure that this is something that, I tell people all the time when they donate even $2 to me via Super Chat, if it's a choice between giving Brother Black $2 for Super Chat and you getting something to eat, get yourself something to eat. Don't cut me nothing. You see what I'm saying, right? So I appreciate, again, shout out to the sister, Pretty Muslima, for doing that legwork for us, fam, and giving us the information needed for some of us to make that determination as to what it is that we're wanting to do to make that happen. So I appreciate you, sister, on that.
Can I put a caveat out there for people that like to play on our emotions? Please do not pledge any money until he lets us know who's going to be there, what we can expect, because I see the deadline is like December 1st. Let me see. Let me make
those
sure.
Kickstarter deadlines can be moved. Like
December 1st is the deadline to have the goal met. So me personally, the stuff that he threw out sounded really good. But unless he really lets me know that these people are going to be there, and this is for the other family too, let's please be patient.
Yeah.
Patience is a virtue.
Absolutely, sister. I couldn't agree more.
Thank you for letting me call back in. I didn't know what happened. All I know is I looked up.
It was my fault. I was trying to
disconnected.
Sister, I was trying to not take Sister Nigel's call, and I accidentally clicked to hang up your call, and so her call automatically came through. And I apologize for that. Thank you again for what you've done. I appreciate you.
All right, family. Everybody have a good night. I'll check y'all later.
Thank you, sister. Peace. All right, Brother Chaos, you the one that's sealing up the sum. You are the finisher, right? The punisher. What's on your mind, fam? Talk to us.
Yo, Mark Black, man. I have a question.
Absolutely.
Sure you caught this. Have you watched the Byron Allen interview?
I did, yes.
Listen, my dude, this ain't no game no more, my dude.
Absolutely.
I've noticed, and I know that's gonna push the buttons, but I know people that talk about what black men do in the bedroom. I get it, I understand, but this is much bigger than that right now, my dude.
Mm-hmm.
What they try to do, they exclude a lot of black people out of these institutions, and they can do it with ease now, without no repercussion, my dude. And either if the man tried to turn back and don't want to proceed with it, they were going to do this anyway, Mark Black.
Yep. Absolutely.
They were going to do this anyway. The only reason why he was there to let people know that this is what they plan to do. And also, as a brother, I'm informing you, go out to support any way you can or fight with him or whatever case. You need this.
Absolutely.
Because they do this, you can forget about 2053. That's going to come much sooner. They project that, but they really want to get sooner than that.
I'm going to tell you, Chaos, you know what? People don't know. about the whole Comcast thing before the Supreme Court, what's really going to bake their noodle once I drop this is that the Supreme Court chooses what cases they want to hear. They could have just told Comcast, nah, we ain't touching nothing on this, right? And there would be no issue. The Supreme Court chose to hear this case, fam. You need to understand why this is so important, right? This ain't got nothing to do with Byron Allen and what he, what he got and who he with. This is about your civil rights. The Supreme Court has been looking and choosing cases over and over and over again that allows them to be able to erode what we have fought and bled and died for. If we sit out on this one, fam, if we sit out on this one, if we sit, if we wild hug, then we deserve whatever the hell we got coming to us when the Supreme Court guts this thing. We need to be all over this thing like a dirty shirt. You hear me?
And listen, there's not a lot of outlets talking about this until I saw it from another good brother from the Gray regime, so the Gray regime, you're familiar with them. He mentioned this. And I had to sit and watch the whole interview in the time. And I'm gonna do a show on this tomorrow on TRS.
Please do, fam.
Because I find that this is not something that is a slide under. But I noticed when I talked to some of the other dudes on certain streets, not me, but one or two, I'm not gonna name names.
Mm-hmm.
What I've learned is because and mind you, I'm not advocating for it. I'm not into that, and I don't work. I'm not supposed to do that. But I tell you, I look at what is the bigger angle going on. You know what I'm saying? That could affect pretty much everybody that's a descendant of the slave here in America. That's a more bigger picture because if you do, in regards to gaining wealth, also, that's going to be expunged within 20 years.
Absolutely.
As a root. So, I mean, I know most people, either they have the issue with country and stuff. No matter where you go outside America, they're going to still view it as American.
Yep.
Because you have American citizenship, you have American passport, all that stuff. They know what goes on here, and if they find one that you're leaving for whatever reason, after they've done this, they know what they're going to do and handle you accordingly.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep, absolutely,
because
Chaos.
A coward dies a thousand deaths. You know what I'm saying? So if black people say, you better get on this. Niggas better get on this.
Absolutely, fam. Hey, I appreciate you bringing it up, fam, because I can't stress it enough, man. Look, our ability to be able to contract is going to be affected by the elimination of Section 1981 from the Civil Rights Act. Our ability to be able to have our contracts honored, to be able to establish that our ability to contract is affected by racial bias is going to be affected. This thing is bigger than any person.
That's where the money is.
Yep.
If you have a contract, it's like this. I don't mind. We're supposed to keep the money. I mean, we should be doing this already. But imagine how you cannot get the money from the institute. Remember, everybody operates off of this fiat currency we call the American dollar.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Whether if you get silver and gold, if they cut you out at a certain things to get you power systematically, you forget about anything you got because everything go back to tenfold. Easy now.
Yep.
If you work at a job, they can fire you and you can have no protection now.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Now everybody here is ready to work for themselves. And if we did, we're not going to have the necessary money that we pull to sustain ourselves to build whatever power we're trying to get. Because you're still using what we call that United States fiat currency.
Facts.
So, niggas, they better wake up.
I feel you, fam.
The reason why I called in because, I had to bring this to attention. And, I sometimes go on and off and I watch your stream. And I see your stream growing very steady. This is a good direction where you want. Black Outcasts. You want steady growth right now.
Yeah.
You don't want no people that jump in and describe to you. You don't want no yes. You want people to watch your material, agree with it, and that issue to give it comments and stuff. But it should be a steady growth, just like my channel.
Yep.
It should all be a steady growth moving forward. I don't want no bunch of people up here on my channel. And mind you, I have to put myself out there. I do exist and I do make content. But I don't want too much yes people on here. I'm going to do certain things and put things on my channel that people are not going to be friendly and happy with, both men and women. Same thing when you talk about what black people should be doing already. Some people are going to agree with it and some people are not going to like it. Some people might find it boring. But at the end of the day, the information is out there.
Yep.
We are bringing a different element.
The information, fam, the data is the data. Like I tell people that all the time, Chaos, you've heard my work before. Man, the information, the data don't care about our feelings. That's why when I was talking about earlier, how we have to take what we're feeling and measure that against reality, because reality consists of the data, right? It's as simple as that. If we don't pay attention, look, it's like Tone told us. If you don't deal with reality, reality is going to deal with you. It's as simple as that.
Exactly.
Fam, hey, man, I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you bringing up this topic, man. I look forward to seeing your broadcast on it.
Yeah, well, if I do broadcast, I will upload on my chat. If they wish to find me, you know where I'm Chaos Rain. I've already put my name in the chat room. So if y'all want to subscribe, it's optional. You know what I'm saying? I'm not begging people to subscribe. I tell people you can check it out and like for yourself, and you think it's cool, you can subscribe to it. So
Absolutely.
right now, with the direction I'm going now with this, I'd rather have some people that will at least take kind of information and then give me feedback than anybody just wants to watch. No, I don't want that crap.
Yeah, I don't want that either, man. I need the feedback.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know
cool.
I require feedback, but I tell people many times, my channel is not built for everything. It's not to be, it's not some of those channels where it's always about foolishness.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm not in that direction for foolishness. If I deal with it, I deal with it in a minute, but mostly I try to deal with information. But that's all I'm going to say.
All right, brother. Hey, again, man, I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger, fam. Call in anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Peace. Let me shout out brother Cool man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it, fam. And I again, I hope that in combination with my Angry Black Sheep that we continue to bring the family what we need. Not just, information, but inspiration. Not just, rhetoric, but facts, right? That's what we all have to live and die on, right? The devil is always in the details for us. Shout out D Will, by the way, and Constance. I see y'all, fam. Bam, thank you so much. It's getting mad late, so I'm gonna let y'all enjoy y'all's weekend. This was Chaos. Pop your channel link here. I'm gonna make you a mod real quick. Go ahead and pop your channel link into the chat so that people can find you, fam. Family, thank you again for your time, your attention, your eyes, the love. I hope that we can see our way clear, fam. That we can see our way clear. There's nothing wrong with being discriminating. There's nothing wrong with being discerning. That is how you manipulate the data of your experience, right? Right? You have to make a judgment call, a determination. Some judgment calls are going to be the way that other people want them. Others won't be. But at the end of the day, fam, if you're doing your due diligence, right, and you're putting in the work, the mental work needed to basically rise above the fray, the purveyors of pain and the sellers of dreams have no effect over you because you're stuck, grounded in reality. And that's the best place to be. I'm not a praying man, but if I was a praying man, my eternal prayer, fam, would be, God, please disillusion me. Because, family, I hope that I'm never bound by any illusions. I always hope to be able to see my way clear and see the reality. My email address, fam, I'm putting it in the chat right now here. Give me just a second. Not to mention the fact, fam, that I also have the Discord links in the description. Family, y'all need to use that Discord more. Y'all got topics y'all want to discuss, things that y'all want to be on. Y'all want to have conversations with each other, gatherings, get-togethers. That Discord ain't for me. That's for y'all. That's the Angry Black Sheep Discord. I need y'all to make the Angry Black Sheep group pop on Facebook because that belongs to you. I need you to make the Discord pop because that belongs to you. I need to know feedback. I need to know what y'all want to talk about, what questions you have. I can't be any better than my Angry Black Sheep. So with that, fam, I'm going to go ahead and call this one. But as always, I want to leave you all with love, peace, prosperity, and power, real power to our people.